I've worked over the years in three or four or five different places. Started in Brazil and started an organization there. We got kicked out of the country because of visa problems, and we moved over to Chile in 1985, where we planted our first church, which still exists to this day. And then came back to the United States in, the end of 1990. We planted a church in Portland, Maine in 1993. And those two are the principal churches that we've planted from scratch, and then helped in dozens and dozens of other churches as a coach, as somebody that's helping other people plant churches. And then the work in Lewiston, significant over the last 8 or 9 years, pastoring that church, taking it from smaller church to a fairly large-sized church. So those have been the significant works that we've done. So we sort of, if you look at the storyline of Phil and Jan Strout, it's started our learning about ministry in Brazil, did serious ministry in Chile, then our time in Portland, and then recently this time in Lewiston, leading up to our appointment as the National Director. So it's been a 37-year run and I did this in 2 minutes, but there's like 1.5 million stories in that. But those are the significant ones that I look at and say, these are the things that formed us right there. So those are the churches we've worked with. And one little story in the church planting in Chile was you try to do everything right. You think it through missiologically, you think of the context, you do everything that you've been taught to do and you know you're supposed to do. But I've always said there's always factors that you don't plan, but if you see them and you use them, they actually are the keys to what happens. So we were doing everything we were supposed to do. We were doing the center city, very much an urban church plant, a city of 5 million people. And we were going along pretty good, but we weren't breaking any records. We weren't, nobody was, we were doing a great thing. We were just simply being faithful and doing what we were doing. And we met a lady who had her own problems, small business owner, and she was having trouble with prescription drugs. She took drugs to go to sleep. She took drugs to wake up. And she came to our church, and she had an experience with the Lord. She was almost instantly delivered, really, from her addictions to these prescription drugs, and became a magnet for people. And once she came into our church, she started inviting all the people that she knew. And then we started actually a Bible study in the south side of the city, basically through her, that attracted, over time, literally hundreds of people. And I've always remembered that in ministry, we can do everything right, but it doesn't mean everything's going to go right. And then there's things that come along that you or I did not plan. I didn't have that on my daily planner. I didn't have that on my methodology. It was not part of my 3-year plan, 5-year plan. It was not a matter of strategy. It was a sovereign act of God bringing a certain human being into our community, and from that, the floodgates open. So nobody gets the credit for that. That's one of those things. Do it all right. It might work right. It might work wrong. But when God brings along something, I'm telling you, that's what makes it easy. So that's one of those stories that, I've never forgotten that. And I encourage pastors with that simply because do the right thing and stay doing the right thing. But there's always those sovereign things that when they come along, ride them.